Imagine a United States without poverty, homelessness, unemployment. Consider for just a moment what life would be like for everyone in America if everyone was able to stand on their own with pride and dignity. Think about every individual going to work and feeling that they were appreciated for a job and paid well for the job that they did. What would it be like to encounter happy, successful people at every turn? It's great to fantasize about such a world, but we all know that it's not a reality. According to U.S. Census Bureau, September 10th, 2019, approximately 38 million Americans live in poverty. It is a sad statistic that takes your breath away and makes you ask what can be done to help these people. The idea of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour has been a hot topic for consideration and debate among both citizens and politicians for years. Is the real solution, will this solution solve this problem? Today I'll first explain a little bit about the minimum wage, about how it began, about the problems with the wages today, and then I will talk about some solutions to the problems, and lastly I'll give my stance about why the wage should not be increased and some things that you can do to make your voice known. During the Great Depression of the late 1920s and the early 1930s, Franklin D. Roosevelt and the government decided that they needed to do something to help people earn a living wage because people were being taken advantage of by the fact that they could not get work, so that people would work for any amount of money and do terrible, very hard labor, and they just were not getting paid for their work. President Roosevelt's crowning achievement, the New Deal, enacted the financial reforms and programs to help the country recover from the Great Depression. Included in the New Deal was the Fair Labor and Standards Act of 1938. This act made child labor illegal, required overtime pay for work, and it gave the United States its very first minimum wage, which was 25 cents an hour. Since that time, the minimum wage has been increased many, many times. The current minimum wage is $7.25 an hour. It can only be increased by the U.S. Congress. The states may have a higher minimum wage than the federal minimum wage, but it cannot be lower than the federal minimum wage. California and New York have decided that they will increase their minimum wage to $15 an hour gradually over the next few years, and it will be $15 by 2023. On the surface, this sounds like a great solution to pull people out of poverty. When you look deeper, you realize that there are many problems with this idea. What does the effect of raising the minimum wage have on small businesses, employers of any kind, and our overall economy? And will it truly pull people out of poverty? According to a July 2019 report from the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan agency that provides budget and economic information to Congress, a $15 minimum wage would increase the wages of approximately 17 million people. But 1.3 million people would lose their jobs, and it is possible that 2/3 of employment would decrease by 3.7 million workers. Another problem that we encounter with such a decrease is what would happen to individuals who have trained for jobs, such as nurses, that make approximately $15 an hour now. How would their pay be adjusted, and how would this affect their employers? Most likely, companies would need to increase wages across the board for employees to keep quality individuals. Damon Devine owns a restaurant in San Diego. In January 2019, he interviewed with NBC San Diego. He explained that his wages, that the new wages were putting a strain on his ability to run his business. He said, it's not just my employees that are costing more, it's every vendor, every supplier I have. The cost went up, their cost went up too. So from everywhere, the cost went up and my staffing went up. So what am I supposed to do? So there are alternatives to raising minimum wage. As a country, we need to invest in the education of low-wage workers. Businesses and government could offer financial incentives for degree-seeking minimum wage employees. Many companies such as Walmart and Chick-fil-A offer college reimbursement for employees. Programs like these should be encouraged by the government and the community. Scholarships for technical and trade schools. They do offer some here and there, but they're hard to find. I think that should be something that is pushed more by the government and by high schools. That there are a lot of schools, a lot of kids that do not want to go on and be college students. So employers should make employees aware that minimum wage jobs are a stepping stone to a higher paying position. And lastly, we should explore increasing the earned income tax credit for low-income families. A June 2019 article from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities defines the earned income tax credit as a federal tax credit for low to moderate income working people. It encourages work and offsets the federal payroll and income taxes. This alternative is most widely accepted by both Democrats and Republicans. We have discussed the minimum wage and how it started and the problems with it today. Some possible solutions to these problems and what you can do to help. The idea of raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour has been debate among citizens and politicians for years. America needs to reinvest itself in an educated workforce. People should be educated, trained, and encouraged to do the best they can. Employers will compete to get the best people, and wages will increase through this competition. This would make any minimum wage increase unnecessary. Education, training, and the EITC could decrease the number of people in poverty in the U.S. So what should the federal wage be? Current unemployment in the U.S. is at an all-time low. Businesses are competing to find good employees and offering good wages and benefits. This alone has forced businesses to increase wages and draw in new employees. Target, for example, saw the need in 2017 to increase wages and is now at $13 per hour for new hires. This decision was based on the need of the company and not a decree from the government. Society needs real solutions and cannot stand by and wait to be saved by the government. The government should not make excuses for poverty and blame businesses. It should work with companies to come up with permanent solutions. Think about ways you can make a difference. If we do not implement policies with real solutions, poverty in the U.S. will continue to rise as more jobs require higher levels of skill. No federally mandated minimum wage will stop that from happening. Call your congressman and senator and let them know that increasing minimum wage is not a real solution. Start or sign a petition against minimum wage increases. Pay attention to what is happening in your community and in Congress. Speak up and make your thoughts known. Thank you.